So we're here tonight to talk about the role of the person of the Holy Spirit in the act of conversion. And before we talk about that, we need to understand what exactly conversion is. From the website BibleStudyTools.com, we get the Christian definition of conversion as the turning of a sinner to God. In a general sense, the heathen are said to be converted when they abandon heathenism and when they abandon heathenism and embrace the Christian faith. And in a more special sense, men are converted when, by the influence of divine grace in their souls, their whole life is changed, old things pass away, and all things become new. So, we understand what conversion is. Conversion is becoming a believer for someone who wasn't previously a believer. So the role of the Holy Spirit in this whole thing is a two-part act. The Holy Spirit inspires faith in people and is the giver of faith. And upon that faith, one will believe upon Jesus Christ. But in order to believe, they first must hear. So most believers hear about Jesus Christ from someone else who is exhibiting their faith by spreading the good news. It could be a pastor on TV. It could be someone that's witnessing to them. Any one of these things. So it's a swap of faith in order to achieve conversion. Now, the role of the Holy Spirit in this, we first have to understand what the role of the Holy Spirit is in our lives overall. In the Old Testament, the Holy Spirit played a big part in things. We see him active in creation in Genesis. The Holy Spirit descended upon certain individuals all through the Old Testament, irrespective of their belief. But most of the time, after the work of God was done, the Holy Spirit departed from these people. And then we come to the New Testament and we see the Holy Spirit is at work when he comes upon the Virgin Mary in order to conceive the Christ child. Then Jesus goes on after his ministry to promise us the gift of the Holy Spirit. In John 14:26, in the contemporary English version, Jesus says, "But the Holy Spirit will come and help you, because the Father will send the Spirit to take my place. The Spirit will teach you everything and will remind you of what I said while I was with you." So, as we see in the Old Testament, the Holy Spirit was selective in what he did, but in the New Testament, and for believers like us today, the Holy Spirit is accessible to all people. The prophet Joel prophesied the coming of the Holy Spirit, and Peter fulfilled that prophecy in Acts 2:17 when he says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." So God promises us the gift of the Holy Spirit. Jesus says he will send him back to guide us in all truth. And in Acts, we see Peter explaining the prophecy of Joel that the Holy Spirit has been poured out upon all men. So the way I see this is that all people in the whole world, be they even Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, every person in the entire world has the Holy Spirit within reach upon them, and this Holy Spirit is always speaking, always talking, and then they can choose to hear his voice or choose not to. If they do hear his voice, then he will lead them in the act of conversion. They will hear a message. It will resound in their hearts. It will resound in their souls, and they will believe upon what they heard, based on that faith that they have inside of them, and through the faith of the person that is witnessing to them. So everyone has the ability to tap into this Holy Spirit. Once you are converted and you accept this truth, then the Holy Spirit will move inside of you and your life is no longer your own. It becomes a life that the Holy Spirit will use to walk in a similar way that Jesus did. And he will teach you all things, like Jesus said. He will remind you of the things that Jesus said while he was with us. He is that replacement. Jesus was God in man form that was sent to dwell among us. The Holy Spirit is God in spirit form that was sent to dwell within us. So it sounds complicated, but it's really not. The Holy Spirit's role in conversion is that he will guide you to a point to where you're ready to hear. He will give you the gift of faith so that what you're about to hear is believable, and he will send someone that has faith and has been converted to give you the message that you need to hear in order for the Holy Spirit to fulfill this act of conversion in your life.